Hi everyone. I have been off for a while. First of all, because I'm lazy. The second of all, I really didn't feel myself that great. And the third of all, I also started to teach in Kyiv Academy of Media Arts, marketing, brand management course there. So it also takes some time. And today I wanted to talk about emotional seesaw that I experience right now in Kiev, and I think many people who are in Ukraine in relatively calm places experiencing as well. So, for example, I can start my day with a really very nice cup of coffee, whether I'm doing it at home because I can have even espresso capsules delivered or various types of coffee beans delivered to my house, or to go to a really nice cafe around the corner. And there are many places like that around the city, and they're open and they're operating. Or my day can be started with a air raid alert and the sound of heavy shelling, which is the case today. So some days it's just a tasty, amazing coffee. Other days it's the sound of shelling. Additionally to that, I can order almost any food to be delivered to my apartment, whether it's healthy food or even McDonald's, which I do indulge from time to time. I can order myself ice cream to be delivered. I love ice cream. And meanwhile, I will face an electricity shutdown, and I can go to a nice restaurant. And usually the case is because I don't have a connection here, because when electricity is off, mobile connection or any type of connection is off as well, so I can't even call my parents. I have not far from here a medical center, and they have a cafe, and because this is a critical infrastructure, so the connection is much better there. And if I use a portable router, I have a decent connection to even do some calls. So I use that spot, or I try to also plan around the times of predicted electricity shutdowns and to drive to the office or anywhere else. And I think this is a very useful skill to know how to plan your workload in order to avoid these shutdowns, and also to plan your routine when the shutdowns are happening. So I download some educational videos for my work or for personal development, professional development, and I do some exercises. So like I have a routine for that as well. But last week I was feeling myself off, and I was talking to my therapist that maybe I should you should prescribe me some kind of medication, because I think I have a depression. And when we started to deconstruct it, I thought that I was like heavily procrastinating, but when I started to list things that I have done through the day, that was just a like low productivity day, but it wasn't a procrastination, it just seemed to be like so. And then like we have been talking about the layer that's happening on the background of my life. So daily news, whether it's from news outlets about victims, or even from my friends about someone died recently or was injured. So the layer of daily news, the layer of electricity shutdowns, even though it looks like a good skill, but it's not something that we used to live in. And this is also additional layer of stress. The sounds of shelling and anti-air raid alerts, which I think I've got used to, but my body is like have been operating through the last 37 years without them, and then like with the last year this became a routine, and it is still stressful whether I admit it or not. So another thing is that especially that actually happened to me in spring, and then I'm feeling that right now as well. We have botanical gardens in Kiev, and one of them is located in the center. And just next to the entrance to this botanic garden is the building that was hit actually several times with the shells. And then this botanic garden is amazingly beautiful, especially inside, and you almost can't hear any noises of the city there, but just a few meters away you have places that were hit by Russian rockets. And then in spring we have sakuras blooming there. Of course, we don't have as many sakuras in Japan as in Japan, but they're still there. We have an alley of sakuras. They're very beautiful, and at the same time we have magnolias blooming there as well. And it is like, it's amazingly beautiful, but it is such a huge contrast, because just a few meters away from it there is an entrance, and then you see the barricades in case if, for example, Russians will decide to invade Kyiv again. And this is the contrast that we face all the time here. And then it's an emotional seesaw. So you have high emotions seeing something good, high emotions seeing something bad. You react really strongly. At a certain point I had a moment when I couldn't react. I couldn't even cry, even though I cry a lot. And I felt that it was inside of me and I needed to let it go in some way. So my simple solution was to watch one Korean drama. Yeah, I cried a lot, but it helped actually to let everything go. It was easier that way. But I do sports. I try to keep on with sports. I try to learn more. I try to I study more. I started to study even more right now. I do things that I used not to do, like Aikido, Iaido. So this helps me to go through that, but I still think it's not easy. And at the end I wanted to brag with something. So this is a portrait of Lewis Hamilton, and that is a present from my godson, who is right now in Ukraine. So they left Ukraine. He has 2 siblings as well. And as I've said, I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here with kids, because our teaching process is really disrupted here. Today, for example, many children didn't go to school because the anti-air raid alert started before even the school started, and for that they always have to go to the shelter. So so he came here to play for his football team, and he's a goalkeeper, and really cool one. And so he stays here for a while this championship is going. I hope they will win. I go to see the place, so even though I'm not a football fan, but I always go to root for him. And Lewis Hamilton is my favorite Formula One racer. And so my godson actually made this portrait of him, and I think he's really it's done really well. It's really resemble him, and I love it so much. I will put it on this wall when I will get this proper frame for the picture. And another thing is that when my coach comes, we do exercises in this room. So Lewis Hamilton now always watching me, and I cannot give up that easily. So this is an additional motivation for me. So I'm really happy with this present. Love it a lot. So and happy to brag about it. And again, that's all. I will try to put some more things from my life here, because once again, the main idea for me is to keep it for myself when the war is over, maybe to revisit it, to understand how I felt. If it gives anyone a hint what's going on here and how people live here, and the fact that my apartment is not hit with the shell doesn't mean that it's easy to live here. On the other side, I don't want to frame myself as a victim because I live in Kyiv. It was my particular decision to stay. If it will help anyone to understand what's going on here, I will be more than happy about that. And I hope everyone will stay safe.